Welcome back, Sooner Nation, to the Sooner Surge. A little afternoon chat with you today. If you have not joined and subscribed to our YouTube channel, click the button right down there on the bottom of the screen. Turn on your notifications. Like, follow, comment. Drop your comments in the chat. We'd love to interact and chat with you guys. It's game week. We're 2 days away. We're also about a day away, actually about 24 hours away from the Dom McKinley commitment. So we're going to do a little afternoon chat here, just talking about what our thoughts are on the Dom McKinley recruitment. And guys, let's really just kind of lay out the positives and maybe the negatives and disadvantages of where OU stands. And I'll start with positives. And one positive I think happened last week was the David Stone commitment. That guaranteed that OU was maybe going to be in with some guys that maybe they wouldn't have had previously had as much of a chance. David Stone is very charismatic. He's very active on social media. Very liked among a lot of guys, so people want to come play with him. I think the David Stone effect is real. It's not just some facade. There's truth to it. So you got that as one advantage for the Sooner Nation. Another advantage, I think, for Sooner Nation is the sole mission, especially with a guy like Dom McKinley, his familial family kind of, I guess you could say, beliefs and background and what they stand for and talk about. I think Soul Mission lines up perfectly with that. It correlates along with what they've been speaking to. So the Soul Mission belief aspect of the staff in general at the University of Oklahoma, as well as the family, it really lines up. It meshes well. So I think that's another thing that stands out for the University of Oklahoma. Those two things, those are pretty big things, guys. It's not like we're talking about something that's not real here. So I think those are two, and I know there's more guys that you guys want to say, and also some things that maybe you would say OU doesn't have the edge in.
Yeah, I would say that this recruitment's a little different than the last 2 5-stars they've been after and in the hunt for with Ranieri and Stone, just because this has been a little more silent. I feel, it's not as he's not out there as much on social media. You don't hear a whole lot of buzz on it. It's really kind of like, and I think a lot of the insiders and a lot of people, I don't know how much people really know and where it's going to end up. I think you look at schools like we've heard Texas leads for a while. Then, OU early on was people thought they were really in it. And then now A&M. So you're hearing a lot of buzz now about OU and A&M. And truthfully, guys, I just don't know if he knows yet. And I know he said that he had made his mind up. I think it was last week, but I'm sure it's a 5-star defensive lineman, guys. It's going to go down to the wire. Almost all of them do, right?
Yeah, that's so true. And I think, Jeremy, you had a great point in which how much he really fits into that soul mission and the culture at Oklahoma, because his family is very faith-based. Parker Thune has said on KREF that he's been to more church camps than football camps, according to a source in which he was told, which is just speaks to how he would fit into that Brent Venables culture, right? Whether that's with just the Christianity faith or whether that's just with so many other things, having integrity on and off the field, doing what's right. That just sounds like such a Todd Bates and Brent Venables guy. And guys, this Dominick McKinley, as Jason says, has been very, very quiet. There's not been much said publicly by him or by people maybe around him, because no one has really known, because at a point, right, it was Texas. There was a point where it's Oklahoma. There could even be an argument that maybe Texas A&M leads right now. Like, we really just don't know. Like, we don't. But, I would say the one thing that I think Oklahoma has against them is just the distance to home. That's the only factor I think Oklahoma has against them, because Texas A&M is closer to where he lives in Louisiana than to Norman. Obviously, it'd be easier for his family to get to the games. And also, I think of another underrated factor in his recruitment is wherever Dominick McKinley goes is where his younger brother is most likely going to end up too, because they're a very tight-knit family. I think his younger brother will follow him. Kind of maybe some of what we saw with Peyton Bowen and Eli Bowen, but kind of in a different situation, obviously. But I think that if Oklahoma can land Dominick McKinley, a lot of credit goes to David Stone for this. I mean, because he's just a kid that everyone wants to play with, right? He's charismatic personality, someone that's super easy to maybe love and play with them.
Well, hey, and
Yeah,
I
but one
agree.
one thing you can't underestimate is the relationships. I know that he had a great relationship with those guys, and it's closing time now, and let's see if Bates and them can pull.
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, Jackson, we just lost Jay, but in my opinion, yeah, David Stone would probably get some credit, but and the fact that he is a beliefs guy, that their faith guy, I agree with all that, 100%. But the reason Todd Bates and staff are going after Don McKinley, he's an elite talent.
Yeah.
He's a 5-star guy. He's a solid 5-star guy. He's going to be in the middle alongside Stone if he were to come here. So let's call it what it is. OU is after him for his talent, and the other stuff is great too, that he is going to bring that along if he comes here. And we've seen, like you said, Jackson, there's multiple sources that have said they thought that, Texas A&M was in the lead. We've seen, obviously, OU strong in some as well, as we heard even on here. So I think that, again, like was mentioned earlier, it is going to be an all day up to the last minute thing. Whether or not Dom knows right now what his decision is, that's between him, because obviously it has not been shared or anything like that. I think OU's in a pretty good spot here, based on, if you want to just base it on those positive things. Now the distance thing is against them. It's a couple 100 miles, guys. It's not just an hour and a half further. It's a few hundred miles, close to 300, I think, in the distance. So I think that'll be interesting. But some things to look for, I think, are maybe if you notice anything in the next 24 hours, you're probably going to see both sides making push. It's obvious. Who wouldn't push for a 5-star?
Yeah. And to me, I see some similarities in ways to the Jaden Jackson recruitment, in which this was a recruitment that swung within the matter of 24 to 48 hours to two different teams, right? Because for Jaden Jackson, it was Texas. And then it came down to Miami and Oklahoma. And it really ended up becoming Oklahoma. And also the same thing happened with David Stone. It was down to Miami and Oklahoma. David Stone chose, obviously, Oklahoma as well. So I do see some similarities to this, but it's Oklahoma, Texas A&M, not Miami and Oklahoma. But maybe in just how Oklahoma has been able to shift the tide in this recruitment and get themselves right back with more than a puncher's chance to land Dominick McKinley. And guys, this culture and the relationship with the mom is really having just such a major impact that isn't being talked about. I don't even know if enough by some people.
Yeah, and if you guys want to drop your comments here, we could probably talk all day about Don McKinley and whether or not he's going to be a Sooner. I feel good. I know maybe on the Sooner Surge there's some mixed feelings and hesitancy. As Sooner fans, there's always going to be hesitancy until OU can land multiple guys like this. But it's going to be interesting next 24 hours. Make sure you drop your comments. What do you think? Are the Sooners getting Don McKinley, Sooner Nation? Let us know. Till next time, Boomer.